Welcome to the Rosenfeld Review. Lou Rosenfeld here. You probably gathered that. But what's more important is my guest, Julia Barham, author of forthcoming Rosenfeld Media, titled A Product Management Playbook, Create, Ship, and Optimize Winning Products. Julia, welcome to the Rosenfeld Review.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you join us, and I'm really excited about your book. I feel like it threads a bunch of needles that I haven't really seen handled. It's sort of like, I feel like you've been able to work in a lot of areas that product management overlaps with, like, for example, UX. And I think we'll talk about that in a little while. And I think your book is also, it's not a textbook. It's not like what people who like are studying product management necessarily should start with. But I feel like you've kind of gotten your arms around enough of the practice that someone certainly in the first few years of their career is going to just need this book just to kind of fill in some of the gaps and have a good framework within which to understand product management.
I agree. I wrote this.
You were probably waiting for a question in there, but you can go ahead and agree or disagree. I think you agree,
Yeah.
though.
No, I agree. I mean, I think one of the things I try to address in the motivation for writing the book is product management is wide. It's so wide, and you could spend your whole career on one product in one part of the life cycle, and then get assigned a new product in a totally different side part of the life cycle, and you won't have the same skills and the ability techniques to basically survive that. And one of the things that I really try to help my teams develop is what I call end-to-end product management skills. I want them to have exposure to early innovation type ways of working and thinking, and then all the way from putting something in market and then optimizing that, scaling that, or even sunsetting that.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes a lot of time and time to teach. And you might wind up being assigned a part of a product that you just weren't ready for. So the intention of the book is to really help you understand what to do when you wind up in XYZ situation and how to get unstuck.
Yeah, and I know that certainly in your work, you've been doing this work and mentoring and teaching, in effect, for a long time now. And I mean, are you seeing this kind of gap when you go beyond, let's say, your own workplace and you know monitor the conversation that's going on in social media and other settings?
Yes, I actually see right now a really big theme around making sure product managers understand strong discovery techniques. So I think this is coming from a place of, in the last 10 years, companies really focused on transforming to the product operating model. But a lot of times what happened was people who were in delivery roles were retitled as product managers,
Mm-hmm.
but really they were spending a lot of time just doing product owner type roles in Scrum or in Agile settings. So many of these folks, now that, kind of with the rise of AI and automation through delivery, many of them are being expected to shift left a little bit and do more customer research, more prototyping. And so there's a whole realm of skills that a lot of these product managers don't have yet because they focus so much on delivery in their roles. And this book really attempts to show end-to-end product management. So what to do in discovery and then also how to approach delivery.
Is that leftward shift happening because delivery is becoming, I don't want to say commodified, but maybe in the age of AI, it's becoming easier? Or why is that shift happening?
Yeah, it is becoming easier to a large degree. I think, and to a large degree with product managers, some of their job has been project management. So that looks a lot like managing the backlog and coordinating and dependency management and updates. A lot of those parts of the role are being automated right now, or they're just being made easier through some of the tools that product managers have available to them to synthesize and summarize faster. And so the expectation for those product managers is, well, when that part of the work goes away, how can you spend more time doing some of the deeper work that you never really got to? And that tends to be product discovery. So generating customer insights, learning more about the market, learning more about competitors, and then turning that insight into action somehow. So that's going to be, I think, a really big focus for product managers over the next couple of years. And I'm actually really excited because I think that's the work many product managers have been wanting to do for a long time. They just really haven't been empowered and able to do it.
So it's been an issue of not being empowered more than not having maybe the knowledge of where to begin. I mean, like I know Teresa Torres's work has been really good at addressing this gap, but a lot of people who are UX researchers might, well, take issue with that, right? I mean, like that they've been trying to make it happen for years, and I'm just kind of wondering what your sense of the dynamics or even the politics is there that sort of kind of shuffled the discovery off to the side in a way that the people who were really like all about doing it, the researchers, were marginalized for whatever reason, and now that sort of area is opening up, but maybe to product people. It's kind of a weird situation, and I'm not sure anyone is really pleased with how it's turned out at this point. I don't know if you've got any insight into that.
I think that's a great point. I personally have seen and been coached and developed by some amazing user researchers in my experience as a product manager, but those have been the exception for
Mm.
many of my experiences. I think a lot of times companies have user researchers or they'll hire user research support, but it's really for the big swings that they're taking, or they might make sure that that user research is dedicated to something that's a strategic initiative. And what happens is those big swings are really, they tend to be well staffed and they get that support. But a lot of the day to day work is what product managers are doing on features or optimizing an experience. And many of those product managers have not had durable access to user research support or even durable access to user experience design support. So I think the big change is that these are the product managers that are going to become more empowered and accountable for helping to do some of the rapid cycles of discovery on maybe not the biggest swings, but maybe some of the everyday optimization work, run the business work, some of the smaller slices of work that it takes to run a product. And I think that's where they are going to become more empowered and accountable for helping to support some of that.
I like that a lot because I think we really kind of take a very binary approach. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it. Either you're doing user research and you're doing it right, or you're not doing it at all. And that's it's like, well, there's certain degrees or tiers of investment I think we need to make, and of course that's not just about UX research, but some things require deep expertise, and some things, what, there is no money, and it's not maybe
Yeah.
even that important, and the product manager has to take care of it because no one else is there. So, yeah, I appreciate that you're taking a very kind of level-headed perspective here, and even though I try to prod you into a religious war, good on you for avoiding it. What do you feel are the kind of other major messages that your book conveys? Like, I said you kind of thread the needle in a bunch of ways. What else are you trying to make sure people looking at product management for their careers or starting their careers there really understand?
That's such a great question. I mean, I tend to think about when I think about successful product managers, they usually operate across five different domains. They usually have working knowledge that includes these domains include the business, the market or customer insights, um, design, data, and technology. Those tend to be the five domains I personally look for to get someone who's a little more well-rounded and can
Hmm.
understand how to develop like problem statements and define problems, and then how to use data, design, and technology to create solutions so that we can get to problem solution fit. So this book really focuses on a little bit of everything. So it's some working knowledge that you need across all five of those domains and how to build that working knowledge. And I think that's very important. But to go back to something you just mentioned a moment ago, most product managers are not, working end to end in a vacuum, right? You need to be a really good partner if you want to be a great product manager. So another aspect of this book is featuring different interviews with experts across design, data, and technology so that they can say what they ideally want when they're working with product managers. Because I think that's one of the big lessons. It's a lot of times product managers tend to think, what can I get out of my support or resources? But you have to show up well and make sure that there's reciprocity and you understand how to leverage those domains and those experts. And that's one thing that I think makes this book a little unique is you're going to learn how to be a better partner to all those expert functions too.
Who are some of those experts, and what are some of those domains that you addressed?
Yes, that's a great question. So there, when you think about business stakeholders, right, that's a really important, sometimes business and product teams are not the same. So from a business perspective, we're featuring Des Trainer in the book. He's the co-founder and chief strategy officer of Intercom. He is my strategy icon, and he talks about how product managers can help level up their strategic thinking. Teresa Torres, we feature in the book. You mentioned her a moment ago. She talks about the discovery techniques that product managers should use when they maybe don't have all of the perfect design resources available. And then I feature Ali Wong. She's a design expert at Fortune 100 companies. Derek Schwartz, he is a data science expert at Intuit and data product leader. Um, Vito Covolucci from Amazon, working on AI products. And then we also have Leon Feuerstein, who's a senior director of engineering at a major bank. So we have a lot of different takes on what great product managers look like and how they show up with their partners, and definitely excited to feature that.
So, what's the one uh, common thread that you heard again and again?
So the big thing that I think I heard was there was a question I asked everyone, which was what's kind of that product management X factor? What are you looking for? And the big thing was always curiosity. Having a sense of curiosity about your business, your partners, their expertise, not walking in with any preloaded assumptions on what you need and, showing exactly how you're going to do it. Like, for example, don't show up with a high fidelity prototype when you're talking with design. Show them more what you need and want and allow them to do their very best work, right? We don't want to show up in a room like we know it all. And that's really not the point of product management. The point is harnessing multiple superpowers to get that integrated thinking and develop a solution that's going to work across what customers need, businesses need, and then can be scalable and sustainable at the end of the day.
Excellent. So, curiosity and obviously a lot of other, well, we call them soft skills, but they're really hard, let's face it.
Yes.
Speaking of curiosity, if you're curious, we are talking with Julia Barham, author of the forthcoming book that will publish in July of 2026, the Product Management Playbook. We're going to take a quick break, and you're listening to the Rosenfeld Review. We'll be right back. Hey, it's Lou, and I want to let you know about our next conference. It is virtual. It's coming up June 9th and 10th. It's the third edition of Designing with AI. You're going to want to check it out. The program has some fantastic people on it. People like Erica Flowers, people like Paul Ford, Anil Dash, Josh Clark, on and on. I mean, it's just an embarrassment of riches. You're going to want to check it out if you are someone in the UX design, research, and writing space who is wrapping their arms around AI as something that they can and should use, and do so ethically and humanely. Check it out, Designing with AI, June 9th and 10th, virtual. Hope to see you there. Welcome back to the Rosenfeld Review. We're talking with Julia Barham, author of the Product Management Playbook, coming out July of 2026, published by your favorite UX and product design book publisher. Julia, we were talking just a moment ago before the break and getting into this idea of these 5 areas that are sort of the critical framework that product management really encompasses. And that all makes sense to me. But then I start getting nervous because I think of like a person who has to know about a lot of things, but then they may feel insecure that they don't know enough about any one thing. In other words, they've got breadth but not depth. And I say that as one of those people who gets really anxious when I meet someone who knows a lot about something I'm supposed to know a little bit about. And I wonder if you see product management people often facing that same insecurity, or is it just me?
It's not just you. In fact, I think most people who start in product management index high on one of those five domains. So, one or two of those five domains. So, I think most people start more T shaped. And as a reminder, those domains are understanding the business, understanding the market or consumers, and then it's leveraging design, data, and technology to create solutions. Um, in my experience, most people that are interviewing for product management roles, especially early in their career, they tend to index very high on maybe technology or maybe design or maybe even business domain. And they have enough of that depth there, but what they wind up needing to do over the course of the first few years is round themselves out a little bit. So they have to learn a little bit more about design and UX if they've never worked with that type of partner. Or they might need, in many cases, some people come with a stronger design point of view or in a strong business point of view, but they really get uncomfortable with technology and data. That tends to be a fear for a lot of people. You don't have to have a computer science degree to become a great product manager, but back to that level of curiosity, you have to be curious, you have to spend time with your partners, get mentors, and learn to understand how design, data, technology all helps you make a better product for customers and for your business. So there's no need in being fearful about it. It's just more treat it like a learning plan and you're growing. And it's okay if you come with depth in a certain area. That's mostly preferred. But the goal is to make sure that everybody learns and has a plan to round themselves out a little bit because that's really where the magic happens when you can create really strong solutions.
Do you see people in product management roles being given that support or at least the space to do that kind of self education, if nothing else?
You just said the words that I think are most important, self-education. So it's interesting. Product management is a job family that has very high expectations, but at the same time, most PMs are thrown into the deep end with very little training and support. I think self-study is one of the absolute best things anybody could do if they're interested in learning about product management or any one of those domains. I think finding a mentor, right? When I started out, I really did not have any background in technology, but I immediately found my favorite architects, and I would go to them with what I thought were the silliest questions. And architects love to teach. And through that, I found I was able to develop much more understanding of technologies and the tech stack and how everything works together. And that was my way of kind of compensating in that direction. So I think the key is unfortunately, a lot of companies aren't going to make that a deep investment in you. You have to take control of your future and try to pour into yourself and do the work to get there. But once you get there, I think it makes you stronger overall and much more effective when you're partnering with these groups.
So it sounds like you know, look at it as a feature, not a bug. It's an opportunity. It's
Yes.
to maybe explore the joyful process of learning. You may have to do it on your own. You may not have the support you ideally would have, but there is support out there. I mean, it may come from books like yours or communities of in product management. Speaking of the community of product management, I'll recount a story to you. Um, and I might have mentioned it in a prior podcast, so listener, my apology if this is a repeat. A few years ago, I went to my first product management conference, and I was really kind of anxious because, like a lot of people in the design world, I always assume product management people are the ones with power. They control the budget, they manage the P&L, they make the decisions, and they are the ones who have the power, certainly in the relationship to researchers and writers and designers. At least that's how it seemed. And then I went to this conference, which was just product management oriented. And I'm talking to these people, and the general feeling was one of nobody respects us, nobody values us, nobody listens to us.
Mm.
It's just like the designers. It's just like they were in the same ditch that the UX people seem to have fallen into. And I was surprised. I mean, this is already about at least 2 years ago. And even then, there was a sense of gloom.
Mm.
And I wonder if you sense that gloom and how you deal with it or how you help other people deal with it in product management.
That's a good question. I think there are two big factors that create an environment where product managers don't feel empowered. The first is when product managers are on teams and they are not included in vision setting, strategy work. They're really just assigned a feature or a very small problem to solve, and they're kind of treated as just a delivery or distribution arm. And that is the unfortunate truth in a lot of organizations. The way they've set up their product teams and operating model is that the leaders go away and they do vision and strategy in a vacuum, and then they come out, and then the team spends 11 months out of the year on delivery. Not very fun for product managers. They don't feel like their opinions are heard. They don't feel like they have much control. Um, so that happens. I think that's happened in a lot of companies that what I say attempted a half-baked transformation, and they never fully got to the product operating model where teams are really asked to deliver on outcomes. Because if you're a team that's delivering on an outcome, you have a lot more accountability and a lot more skin in the game. And I think they tend to feel like they maybe have a little bit more support from their leaders to go pursue that outcome. So the first one is, organizations that don't really treat their product managers as part of the decision making and vision setting and strategic process. The second thing that I think is contributing to that sense of doom is the overall mood right now. We can't have a conversation about product management in the industry without talking about AI and job security and how it's making everybody feel, not just product managers. But just this week, I was browsing the Reddit thread for product management, and there's just this theme of fatigue that people are feeling overwhelmed and kind of tired of AIs coming for your job and some of the clickbait articles they're seeing and just the noise. Um, I actually like for me, I think part of why I wrote this book is to give people that sense of optimism and confidence. It's really, in the absence of having leaders that are supporting you or hearing that noise, the best thing you can do is really just focus on yourself and developing what you like your survival tactics and how you're going to meet the moment. And that's part of why I wrote this book. It was to help people take their destiny into their own hands, give them a sense of control, and actually give them techniques and practices to do. It's not a book on theory, it's a book on doing, and it's a book on getting unstuck and trying and just trying to move forward. And so I think that's some of the best advice I have for people in this time is just do, just keep pushing forward. It's you can be optimistic, doesn't mean it won't be hard, but I promise you you can get through it.
Well, in uncertain times, the only certainty there is what you make.
Exactly.
Julia, this has been a great conversation. Before we wrap it up, though, you know where I'm going with this, and certainly my regular listeners do. What gift did you bring for them?
Oh, that's such a good question. So, um, because I know that, AI continues to be such a theme, I wanted to at least acknowledge that. And I have actually two gifts that I want to recommend for readers. There's some amazing thought leaders out there. The first one is I want to introduce Dr. Marilee Nika to your listeners. She is, I consider to be the leading expert for product managers on leveraging AI. She's published books. She has courses on Maven. You can follow her on LinkedIn. Very accessible, very approachable, and perfect for beginners. And then the second gift is kind of in the similar theme. I recently followed something called A Couch to 5K, but on AI, and it was by Hillary Gridley. This was something that was posted in Lenny's newsletter, and it's 30 days, a 30-day plan where you do 10 minutes every day to learn how to actually work with Claude Code and how to start building agents and how to train and kind of understand how to prompt a little bit better. I thought it was fabulous. I think everybody should take it, not just product managers, but it's a great way to overcome that fear and get into go mode and start building that muscle a little bit more.
I love it. And, I think you know this. If not, I think you'll be happy to hear it that Couch to 5K, the concept was invented by one of our authors, Josh Clark.
I love that. I didn't know that. That's wonderful. Well,
Yeah, so you're in the same club.
yeah, I love the application.
Julia, thanks so much. Thanks for sharing your optimism and your positivity. I think it's refreshing. We need more of it. And most of all, thanks for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom in your forthcoming book, The Product Management Playbook: Create, Ship, and Optimize Winning Products. We're getting it out there in July. You could pre-order it until then at 15% off. Julia, thanks again for joining us on the Rosenfeld Review podcast.
Thanks, Lou.
Hey, it's Lou. Thank you for listening to the latest Rosenfeld Review podcast. I really appreciate it. I would love to hear from you. And if you want to pop me an email, lou@rosenfeldmedia.com, tell me what you thought. Better yet, leave me the hell alone and post a review on your favorite podcast platform. Please feed the algorithm. It really does make a difference. We want to get the word out. If you like the word, give us a hand. And while I'm asking you for favors, don't forget, buy books. Support your favorite local independent publisher. We happen to be one. rosenfeldmedia.com. All those great UX books are there. So, thanks again.